I never expected my father's voice to sound so broken. After 8 years of silence, his call came while I was elbow-deep in garden soil, trying to save my withering tomato plants. The universe has a twisted sense of humor like that. My name is Elena, and until today, I thought I had my life figured out. I help run a community center in Portland, live in a cozy apartment with too many houseplants, and have successfully avoided anything to do with my father since I was 22. But here I was, dirt under my fingernails, listening to him sob through my phone speaker. Elena, please. I know I have no right to ask, but I need your help. His voice cracked. Everything's gone. The house, the business, Vivian's. Stop. The word came out sharper than I intended, making my neighbor's cat startle from its perch on my balcony railing. You're right. You have no right. The silence that followed felt heavy, loaded with 8 years of missed birthdays, holidays, and the weight of choosing his new wife over his grieving daughter. I could hear him breathing, that familiar pattern that used to signal he was trying not to cry when I was little. Your grandmother told me you're doing well, he continued softly. The community work, your own place. Mabel should know better than to talk about me with you. I yanked a weed with more force than necessary, imagining it was Vivian's perfectly manicured hand reaching for my father's wallet. What happened to all your money? Did your precious wife finally spend it all? He cleared his throat. It's complicated. There are things you don't understand about Vivian, about what happened after your mother. Don't. My hands were shaking now. Don't you dare bring Mom into this. A knock on my door made me jump. Through the glass, I could see Ms. Harper from apartment 3B, probably coming to share another batch of her stress-baked cookies. She'd been my high school English teacher before retiring, and now she lived 3 doors down, still trying to take care of everyone. Elena? My father's voice pulled me back. I know I failed you, but this isn't about me or Vivian anymore. There are people, dangerous people involved. I thought I could handle it, protect everyone, but I laughed, a harsh sound that surprised even me. Protect everyone? Like you protected me when Vivian threw out all of Mom's photos? Or when she convinced you to sell Mom's violin collection because it was cluttering up the house? The knocking grew more insistent. Ms. Harper's worried face peered through the glass, holding what looked like a newspaper. 24 hours, my father said quietly. That's all I'm asking for. Come to the house. Let me explain everything. After that, if you still want nothing to do with us, I'll understand. The house you're losing, you mean? The words tasted bitter. Please, Elena. I know I don't deserve your help, but this is bigger than our problems. People could get hurt. Ms. Harper was now waving the newspaper urgently. I could see the local section's headline even from where I sat. Local business mogul linked to missing funds. My stomach dropped as I recognized my father's company name in smaller print below. 24 hours, I repeated, my voice hollow. That's it. And I'm not doing this for you or Vivian. I'm doing it because... I trailed off, not sure why I was agreeing at all. I know, he said softly. Thank you. After hanging up, I sat there among my plants, soil still clinging to my trembling hands. Ms. Harper was still waiting, concern etched on her face. Whatever was in that newspaper, whatever my father had gotten himself into, I had a feeling my carefully constructed piece was about to shatter. And somewhere in the back of my mind, a small voice whispered that maybe, just maybe, this was my chance to finally make Vivian pay for everything she'd taken from us. Ms. Harper's newspaper article felt like a bomb in my hands. Local business mogul Graham Carson accused of investment fraud. Below that, in smaller text, multiple investors report missing funds. FBI investigation pending. You need to see this, Ms. Harper said, settling into my worn armchair. Her reading glasses dangled from a chain around her neck, catching the afternoon light. Your grandmother called me this morning. She's worried. I skimmed the article, my throat tightening with each paragraph. Millions missing. Suspicious transfers. Offshore accounts. The words blurred together, but one quote stood out. Sources close to the investigation suggest Vivian Blake Carson may have orchestrated several key transactions. Of course she did, I muttered, crumpling the paper's edge. I always knew she was after his money. Ms. Harper leaned forward, her expression gentle but firm. Elena, do you remember that essay you wrote in my class? The one about your mother's violin concerts. The memory hit me like a physical blow. Mom in her black dress, bowed dancing across strings, Dad beaming from the front row. I was 14 then, still whole, still part of a family that made sense. 3 months, I said, my voice barely steady. That's how long he waited after Mom died before bringing Vivian home. 3 months. I remember. MS. Harper's voice softened. I also remember how quickly she started changing things. The memories flooded back unbidden. Vivian's first dinner with us, her perfectly manicured hands rearranging Mom's carefully curated place settings. These are a bit dated, don't you think, Graham? We should get something more modern. Dad had just nodded, that vacant smile I'd come to hate spreading across his face. By the next week, Mom's china was gone, replaced by sleek, soulless plates that could have come from any department store. My phone buzzed. A text from Mabel. Coming over. Need to talk about your father. Don't do anything rash. Too late, I muttered, showing MS. Harper the message. I already told him I'd give him 24 hours to explain. Good. MS. Harper's response surprised me. Maybe it's time you got some answers. Or maybe it's time Vivian finally faces consequences. I said, the words coming out before I could stop them. Yes. Harper's expression shifted. There's something else you should know. She pulled out another piece of paper, this one older, creased. Your grandmother gave me this years ago, asked me to hold on to it until the right time. My hands shook as I unfolded it. Mom's handwriting jumped out at me, elegant and familiar. My dearest Graham, if you're reading this, then Vivian has finally made her move. I knew she would eventually. The question is, will you see it for what it is this time? Love always. Sarah. The date on the letter was 2 weeks before Mom's accident. What? I struggled to form words. What does this mean? A knock at the door interrupted us. Through the glass, I saw Mabel's familiar silhouette, but she wasn't alone. Next to her stood a tall man in a dark suit, his FBI badge clearly visible on his belt. MS. Carson, he called through the door. I'm Agent Roberts. We need to talk about your father's business dealings, and about a series of emails between your mother and Vivian Blake dating back to 2013. MS. Harper's hand found mine, squeezing gently. Sometimes, she said quietly, the truth is more complicated than we want it to be. I stood, legs unsteady, moving toward the door. The paper in my hand felt impossibly heavy. Whatever game Vivian was playing, whatever truth lay behind my mother's words, one thing was clear. My 24 hours with Dad had just become about much more than missing money. As I reached for the doorknob, my phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. Your mother tried to warn him. Don't make her mistake. V. The game was changing, and I wasn't sure anymore who was playing whom. Agent Robert sat across from me in my small kitchen, his presence making the room feel even smaller. Mabel's hand rested protectively on my shoulder as I stared at the stack of emails he'd laid out on the table. Your mother and Vivian Blake were in contact for months before your mother's death, he said, sliding one particular email forward. We believe these communications might be relevant to our current investigation. The timestamp made my chest tight. 3:47 a.m., the morning of Mom's accident. The subject line read, Final warning. I can't do this, I whispered, but Mabel's grip tightened. You have to, sweetheart. Sarah, your mother would want you to know. The email was brief. If anything happens to me, the documents are in the violin. He'll know which one. S. What violin? Agent Roberts asked. Our investigation shows Mrs. Carson owned several valuable instruments. A bitter laugh escaped me. Owned. Past tense. Vivian sold them all within a year of moving in. Said they were collecting dust. All except one, Mabel said quietly. The Stradivarius copy. The one your father keeps in his office. My head snapped up. What? She always said it was sold to a collector in Vienna. Agent Roberts leaned forward. MS. Carson, we have reason to believe your stepmother has been operating a sophisticated investment scheme for years. But these emails suggest your mother might have uncovered something even bigger. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Vivian. The violin was just the beginning. Your mother knew too much. Don't make her mistake. Elena. Mabel's voice sounded worried. What is it? I handed my phone to Agent Roberts, who quickly read the message. We'll need to trace this number. MS. Carson, I strongly advise against meeting with your father until we.
No.
I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. I need to see that violin.
Now.
Elena, MS. Harper warned from her corner of the kitchen. Think about what you're doing. I am thinking. I grabbed my keys. I'm thinking about how Vivian swept into our lives right after Mom started asking questions about Dad's business. I'm thinking about how convenient it was that Mom's brake lines failed right after she sent that email. The room went silent. We'd never said it out loud before, the possibility that Mom's accident wasn't an accident at all. Agent Roberts stood. I'll need to call this in. We should wait for backup. 24 hours, I said, echoing my promise to Dad. That's what I gave him. And now I know exactly where to start looking. My phone buzzed one final time. A photo message from Vivian, Mom's Stradivarius copy, sitting on Dad's desk. Next to it lay today's newspaper. She's baiting you. A mess. Harper said softly. I know. I showed them the photo. But for the first time, I think I'm starting to understand why. Agent Roberts studied the image. This could be a trap. Of course it's a trap, I said, grabbing my jacket. The question is, who's trapping whom? Mabel moved to block the door. Your mother wouldn't want you putting yourself in danger. My mother, I said, gently moving past her, left me a message in that violin. And after 8 years, I'm finally going to hear what she was trying to tell us. As I headed for my car, Agent Roberts called out, we'll have agents surrounding the house within the hour. Don't do anything reckless. But I was already sliding behind the wheel, Mom's last email burning in my mind. Whatever documents she'd hidden, whatever truth Vivian was so afraid of, it all came down to that violin. The one piece of Mom that Vivian hadn't managed to erase. My phone lit up with one final message. Time's running out, Elena. For all of us.
V.
I started the engine, the same question echoing in my head. Was I walking into Vivian's trap, or was she finally walking into mine? The familiar gates of my childhood home loomed before me, their once pristine white paint now peeling. As I pulled into the circular driveway, I noticed Vivian's Mercedes was missing, but Dad's old Jaguar sat in its usual spot. My key still worked. 8 years, and they'd never changed the locks. The house felt different, smaller, darker. Family photos lined the walls, but they were all new. Dad and Vivian at charity galas, on vacation, at business functions. It was like my childhood had been carefully erased, painted over with their perfect new life. Dad's office door was ajar. I heard his voice before I saw him, low and urgent. No, you don't understand. She's coming here. Elena's coming here. I pushed the door open. He stood by the window, phone pressed to his ear, his back to me. The violin case sat prominently on his desk, just like in Vivian's photo. I have to go, he said quickly, turning. She's here. The years hadn't been kind to him. His hair had gone completely gray, and deep lines carved valleys around his mouth. Elena, he breathed, taking a step forward. I held up my hand. Don't.
Just.
Don't. My eyes fixed on the violin case. Open it. What? The violin. Mom's Stradivarius copy. Open it. His face paled. How did you? Vivian's been texting me. I moved toward the desk. Funny how she never mentioned keeping this one when she sold all the others. Must be pretty special. Elena, wait.
His voice cracked.
There are things you don't understand. Then help me understand. I reached for the case. Why did Mom email Vivian the morning she died? What documents was she talking about? The look of shock on his face was answer enough. He hadn't known about the email. My fingers traced the familiar leather of the case. Mom used to let me open it when I was little, teaching me the proper way to handle the latches. As I reached for them now, Dad's hand shot out, grabbing my wrist. Please, he whispered. Don't. A car door slammed outside. Through the window, I saw Vivian striding up the path, her face set in grim determination. But it was the man following her that made my blood run cold. Agent Roberts. You called the FBI? Dad's grip tightened. No, I said slowly, realization dawning. But Vivian did. The front door opened. Footsteps echoed through the house. Graham? Vivian's voice carried up the stairs. Is she here? Dad's eyes darted between me and the violin case. Whatever you think you know. I know Mom was trying to warn you. I twisted free of his grip. I know she died right after sending that email. And I know Vivian's been waiting for me to figure it out. The office door burst open. Vivian stood there, Agent Roberts just behind her. But something was wrong. The badge on his belt was different from before. "That's not Agent Roberts," I said, backing away. "Is it?" Vivian's perfectly painted lips curved into a sad smile. "Your mother was just as quick. Must run in the family." "Enough games," the fake agent snapped. "Where are the documents?" Dad moved between us. "Leave her out of this. She doesn't know anything." "No," Vivian said softly, "but she will." She turned to me, her mask finally cracking. "Your mother made me promise to protect you, both of you, from him." She jerked her head toward the man we'd thought was Agent Roberts. "The real Agent Roberts is probably at your apartment by now," she continued. "But we needed to get here first. To the violin." My hand found the case's latch. One click, and whatever truth Mom died protecting would finally come to light. "Elena," Dad pleaded one last time. "Some truths are better left buried." But as I opened the case, I realized Mom had known better. Some truths demand to be heard, no matter the cost. The violin lay there, beautiful as ever. And tucked inside its hollow body, visible through the F-holes, was a flash drive with a single word written on it. Truth. The fake Agent Roberts reached for the flash drive, but Vivian was faster. In one fluid motion, she knocked the violin case off the desk, sending it crashing to the floor. The flash drive skittered under a bookshelf. "Run," she commanded, positioning herself between us and the imposter. Her perfectly maintained facade had vanished, replaced by something harder, more dangerous. Dad grabbed my arm. "The study."
Now.
"Not without." "Your mother's papers are in the study," Vivian cut in, her eyes never leaving the man before her. "The real ones. The ones that got her killed." The fake agent pulled out a gun. "Nobody's going anywhere." 8 years, Vivian said, her voice eerily calm. 8 years I've waited for this moment. Did you really think Sarah wouldn't have a backup plan? A commotion downstairs made us all freeze. Multiple footsteps, voices calling out. "FBI, clear the ground floor." The imposter's face twisted. He lunged for me, but Dad shoved me aside, taking the impact. They crashed into the bookshelf, sending volumes raining down. The flash drive lay exposed. I dove for it just as Vivian shouted, "Behind you." Something hard struck my shoulder. Pain exploded through my arm. The fake agent's shoe pressed into my back, pinning me down. "Like mother, like daughter," he sneered. "Always sticking your noses where they don't belong." "Get off her." Dad's voice cracked with desperation. "Or what, Graham? You'll finally grow a spine? Tell her how you knew, how you suspected what happened to Sarah, but were too afraid to act." The pressure on my back increased. I could barely breathe. "I didn't know," Dad whispered. I thought it was really an accident." "But I knew," Vivian said. Her heels clicked on the hardwood as she moved. "Sarah told me everything before she died. About the embezzlement, the offshore accounts, the people you were working for. She trusted me to protect her family when she couldn't." The gun swung toward her. "And you failed. Just like you failed to notice the brake lines being cut that night." My whole world tilted on its axis. Vivian had known? All this time? "Elena," she said softly, "the combination to the study safe. It's your mother's birthday. The real documents are there, everything she collected. Everything that proves who really killed her." "Shut up." The fake agent's voice shook. "The FBI is already here," Vivian continued. "The real Agent Roberts has everything he needs. It's over." Then I have nothing left to lose. The gun shifted again toward me. Time seemed to slow. I saw Dad lunge forward, heard Vivian scream. The weight on my back disappeared as footsteps thundered up the stairs. A single gunshot cracked through the air. When I looked up, Dad was on the floor, clutching his shoulder. Blood seeped between his fingers. The fake agent lay face down, real FBI agents cuffing him as Vivian kicked his gun away. "Graham." Her composed mask crumbled as she knelt beside him. "Stay with me." I crawled to them, the flash drive still clutched in my hand.
Dad.
His eyes found mine, filled with tears. "I'm so sorry, Elena. I should have seen it. Should have protected you both." "MS. Carson." The real Agent Roberts appeared in the doorway. "We need to get you all out of here. There may be others coming." but I couldn't move. 8 years of hatred toward Vivian, of blaming her for taking Dad away, for erasing Mom's memory. All of it shifted sideways as I watched her press her designer scarf against Dad's wound, her hands trembling. Why? I asked her. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Because, she whispered, your mother made me promise to wait until you were ready, until you could handle the truth about who really destroyed our family. Sirens wailed outside. The flash drive felt impossibly heavy in my palm. And now? I asked. Now, Vivian said, meeting my eyes, we finish what your mother started. The hospital waiting room felt like a prison cell. Dad was in surgery. The flash drive sat useless in my pocket without a computer, and FBI agents guarded every exit. Vivian paced nearby, her designer heels clicking a nervous rhythm on the linoleum floor. They're moving too slowly, she muttered, checking her phone again. We don't have much time. Time for what? My voice came out harsh. More lies? More secrets?
She stopped pacing.
Elena. 8 years.
The words tasted like ash.
8 years of hating you, thinking you took advantage of Dad's grief. And all this time you were what? Mom's secret protector? I was trying to keep you safe. She sank into the chair beside me, her perfect posture finally crumbling. Both of you. Safe from what? Before she could answer, Agent Roberts appeared. MS. Carson, we need to talk about what was in that safe. My head snapped up. You found the documents? The safe was empty. His expression darkened. Completely cleaned out. Vivian went pale. That's impossible. I checked this morning. Someone got there first. He handed her a phone. This security footage was just sent to us. You might want to see who accessed the study an hour before you arrived. The grainy video showed a familiar figure entering the study. Mabel.
No.
I stood up, my legs shaking. My grandmother wouldn't. She's been working with them for years, Vivian said quietly. Since before your mother died. The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. You're lying. Why do you think she always knew exactly what was happening with your father's business? How she always had inside information? Vivian's voice cracked. Sarah discovered it just before the accident. That's why she came to me instead of family. My phone buzzed. A message from Mabel. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I did what I had to do to protect our family. Meet me alone at the lake house. No FBI. No Vivian. Just us. Elena. Agent Roberts must have seen something in my face. What is it? I switched off the phone screen. Nothing. Just the hospital updating me about Dad. Vivian's eyes narrowed. She contacted you, didn't she? Before I could respond, a doctor approached. MS. Carson? Your father's asking for you. I found Dad pale and groggy, but alive. His good hand caught mine as I approached the bed. The lake house, he whispered. Don't. Save your strength, I said, but he gripped tighter. Your mother. The night she died. She was going to meet Mabel there. The monitor's steady beeping seemed to grow louder. Why? To confront her. His eyes were clearer now, urgent. She never made it. The brake lines. Graham. Vivian appeared in the doorway. You need to rest. But Dad wouldn't let go. Elena, promise me you won't. I have to know the truth, I said, gently extracting my hand. All of it. Outside the room, Vivian caught my arm. Whatever you're thinking, my whole life is a lie. I pulled away. My grandmother, who baked me cookies and held me at Mom's funeral, might be responsible for her death. The stepmother I hated was actually protecting me. And my father. I laughed bitterly. He was too blind to see any of it. Where are you going? To get answers. Elena, wait. But I was already moving past the FBI agents through the hospital doors. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Mabel, this time with a photo. Mom's missing documents, spread out on the lake house table. Come alone, the text read. Or these disappear forever. Behind me, I heard Vivian calling Agent Roberts, probably telling him where I was headed. But it didn't matter. 8 years of questions, of misplaced hatred and buried truths, all led to this moment. The lake house had always been our family's safe haven. Now it felt like a trap waiting to spring. But I had to know, was Mabel really capable of betraying us? Of killing her own daughter-in-law? As I started my car, one final text came through. Time to choose, Elena. Family loyalty or the truth. You can't have both. The lake house stood dark against the twilight sky, exactly as I remembered it. Mabel's car sat in the gravel driveway, next to an unfamiliar black SUV. My headlights caught movement behind the curtains as I pulled up. 8 years of Sunday dinners, holiday celebrations, and comforting hugs. How many of those moments, with Mabel, had been lies? The front door opened before I reached it. Elena, sweetheart. Mabel's familiar smile felt wrong now, like a mask that didn't quite fit. Come in quickly. We don't have much time. The documents lay spread across the coffee table, just as in the photo. But something else caught my eye. Mom's old laptop, the one that had supposedly been lost in the move after her death. Looking for this? Mabel held up the flash drive from the violin. I had someone retrieve it from your pocket at the hospital. You really should be more careful with valuable things. My blood ran cold. The nurse who bumped into me. Sit down, Elena.
There's so much you need to understand.
Like how you helped kill my mother? Her smile faltered. Your mother made choices. Dangerous ones. She wouldn't listen to reason. The way Dad wouldn't listen about his investors? The ones who are really running his company. Sometimes protection requires sacrifice. She inserted the flash drive into the laptop. Sarah thought exposing everything would keep you safe. She was wrong. A car door slammed outside. Mabel's expression hardened. I told you to come alone. I did. Then you were followed. She moved to the window, pushing aside the curtain. Vivian, of course. You won't get away with this, I said, edging toward the documents. The FBI are looking in all the wrong places, thanks to some carefully placed evidence. She turned back to me. Did you really think Vivian was protecting you? She works for the same people I do. Always has. You're lying. Am I? She pulled out her phone, showing me a photo. Vivian meeting with the fake Agent Roberts, dated weeks before any of this started. She's been playing both sides, Elena, just like she did with your mother. The front door burst open. Vivian stood there, gun raised. Step away from her, Mabel. Right on cue. Mabel's laugh was cold. Tell her, Vivian. Tell Elena how you really knew Sarah was going to die. Don't listen to her, Vivian said, but her hand shook slightly. She's trying to manipulate you, just like she did with your mother. The truth, I demanded, my voice breaking. For once, someone tell me the truth. I was supposed to stop her, Vivian whispered. That night, I was supposed to intercept Sarah before she reached the lake house. Keep her from exposing everything. But you didn't.
No.
Her eyes filled with tears. I called and warned her instead, told her to run. But Mabel's people were already waiting. Enough. Mabel moved with surprising speed, grabbing my arm. Something cold pressed against my ribs, a gun. 8 years I've spent protecting this family, making the hard choices neither of you could. By killing your own daughter-in-law? By keeping the business alive. Keeping Graham out of prison. Giving you a comfortable life. Drop the gun, Mabel. Vivian's voice was steel. Sarah made me promise to protect Elena. I won't fail her again. You already have. The world exploded in sound and movement. I drove my elbow back, just like Mom had taught me in self-defense classes. Mabel's grip loosened. The gun went off, shattering a window. Vivian fired. Mabel stumbled. I lunged for the laptop, grabbing it and the scattered documents. Vivian's hand found my arm, pulling me toward the door. Elena, please, Mabel called out, clutching her bleeding shoulder. Everything I did was for this family. I paused at the threshold, looking back at the woman who had once meant safety and love.
No.
Everything you did was for control. Mom knew that. Now I do too. As we ran to the car, sirens wailed in the distance. The truth about my mother's death, about all of it, was finally in my hands. But as I caught Vivian's haunted expression, I realized we were still missing one piece of the puzzle, and time was running out. Back in Dad's hospital room, I watched the FBI agents leaf through Mom's documents. The laptop had revealed everything: years of money laundering, blackmail, and the elaborate web of lies that had entangled our family. Mabel was in custody, along with several of Dad's board members. She wanted to protect me, Dad said quietly, his voice rough with emotion. Your mother. That's why she went to Vivian instead of me. She knew I was too deep in denial to see what my own mother was doing. Vivian stood by the window, her usual perfect posture softened by exhaustion. Sarah knew they would come after her. She made me promise to wait, to watch over both of you until Elena was ready to handle the truth. 8 years, I said, but the bitterness had faded, replaced by something more complex. All this time, I thought you were the villain in our story. In some ways, I was. Vivian turned, meeting my eyes. I could have told you sooner, could have found another way. But fear makes us do terrible things, even with good intentions. A knock at the door made us all turn. Ms. Harper stood there, holding a familiar violin case. The FBI finished processing it, she said, bringing it to me. They said you should have it now. The case felt lighter somehow, its burden of secrets finally lifted. Inside, where the flash drive had been hidden, I noticed something else, a small envelope, yellowed with age, with my name in Mom's handwriting. My hands shook as I opened it. My dearest Elena, if you're reading this, then you've finally uncovered the truth. Don't let anger consume you the way it almost consumed me. Some people deserve justice, others forgiveness, and the hardest part is knowing the difference. Love always, Mom. Dad reached for my hand. Elena, I know. I squeezed his fingers gently. We all made mistakes. Even Mom. The company, Vivian said softly. Once the investigation is complete, it will need someone to rebuild it. Someone honest. I looked at her, really looked at her, seeing not the stepmother who had replaced Mom, but a woman who had carried an impossible burden for 8 years. Will you help me? I asked. Both of you. Dad's eyes filled with tears. Vivian's careful composure cracked into a genuine smile. A commotion in the hallway drew our attention. Through the door's window, I saw Mabel being led away in handcuffs, her elegant facade finally stripped away. Our eyes met briefly. In that moment, I saw not the manipulative mastermind, but my grandmother, the woman who had loved me in her own twisted way, who had justified her crimes as protection. What happens now? Dad asked, watching her disappear down the corridor. Now, I said, carefully placing Mom's violin back in its case, we build something new. Something honest. Ms. Harper touched my shoulder. Your mother would be proud. As if in response, the setting sun broke through the hospital window, casting long shadows across the room. Mom's violin case sat between us, no longer a vessel of secrets, but a reminder of the truth's cost and its worth. Later that night, as I drove home, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. There are still people out there. People who won't want the truth exposed. Be careful.
V.
I smiled, thinking of Mom's letter. Some people deserve justice, others forgiveness. And sometimes, the hardest battles aren't fought with weapons or words, but with the quiet courage to face the truth, no matter how much it hurts. The violin case sat in my passenger seat, and in my rearview mirror, I could see Vivian's car following at a discreet distance, still protecting, but now in the open. Dad was healing, Mabel would face justice, and the web of lies that had entangled us for 8 years was finally unraveling. But Mom was right about one thing: the hardest part isn't uncovering the truth. It's knowing what to do with it once you have it. And that journey was just beginning.